Already off to a bad start. I tried to run the intro twice. Welcome everybody to Christmas Eve. Curiosity Public here. First live stream from the new set. Hopefully the audio is working. I like right before the stream decided let me try to redo the microphone setup. So always a stupid idea, but that's what I'm here for. Stupid ideas. All right, folks in chat. Hope everybody's having a good evening. Glad you're joining me here tonight. Hope you're having a great festive season and a happy Christmas Eve to everybody. Got a fun evening planned here. Got some big heavy hitter scotches tonight that I've been itching to crack into. This time of year, it's just all about scotch for me. I don't know, like a gear shifts in my brain, and I just totally get into scotch. So it's been fun. It's been a fun couple months. Been getting some really cool scotches. Let me talk briefly about what we're going to get into today. We've got, like I said, some heavy hitters. The Springbank 21. It's going to be a fresh crack on that bad boy. And kicking it up a notch, maybe, well, at least one more year older, the Aston Martin Bowmore 22. I've heard good things about, I think, the 21 and the 22. So yeah, some, Jules and Dylan are like off doing the holiday thing, and I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna crack open some really good stuff while they're not here. But before that, we're gonna do, against my better judgment, a little mini eggnog 2.0 drink through addendum. Because here's what happened: we bought a ton of eggnog for that drink through we released, and it was all in the fridge here. And when time came to film, somebody grabbed all the eggnog. I don't know who it was, actually. It might have been me. I didn't realize that there were a few in the door of the fridge. And so what we featured was only what was like on the shelves, and there were 4 left in the door. And so I'm going to do kind of a little mini drink through here to kick things off, really get in the festive mood, really make myself nice and sick before I drink some really nice scotch. I thought about, am I going to want to go the other way around, do the scotch first and then the eggnog? And I felt like, no, I want to do the eggnog, get it out of the way, reset the palate, and then end the evening on some nice scotch. So I'm going to kick this off, and then I'll get in with the chat. I'm going to show you quickly what I got here. So I'm going to start with this, which is a Buzzball eggnog. If you've ever seen Buzzballs, they're all the rage. So that's going to be first. I'm just going to show you what else I've got here. We got Sugarland's Sippin' Cream eggnog, cream liqueur, 20%. And then we got Old New England Classic. This one looks like it just looks like it's gonna be good. I don't know why, because it kind of looks like, I don't know, Pennsylvania Dutch. These aren't all gonna fit up here. And then this absurd thing here, Oat Nog, misunderstood oat milk liqueur. And since I think this one's gonna be probably the nastiest, because if you saw her drink through the oat milk one, or sorry, what was it? Almond milk one was not really good. Actually, that wasn't our drink through. That was our how to spike your eggnog episode. All right, guys. So I'm going in. Hope you guys are having a good evening. I'm going to check in with the chat in just a second, but these are going to be quick. Don't worry. I'll get to the scotch because, well, I don't know if I can even open this one. Jeez, this is. Oh my gosh! I'm like, good start. This is like sealed on here, man. I don't know if it's a cork. I think it looks like a cork. There we go. Just needed the old bar towel. Oh my God. There we go. It's like a really thick glass bottle too. So, to your health. Already regretting this. Okay, oat milk, eggnog. Oh, no, sorry. No good. I can't. Oh my gosh. Talk about bad starts. We're just going to skip that one. And I'm going to try the Buzzball while I answer some some chat. Okay, buzzball. Hopefully it's a little bit better here. Okay. Oh, tastes like eggnog candy. Like if eggnog made candy, that's what it would taste like. But enough of this crap. Let me see how you guys are doing. All right, Alexander Rivera, first in the chat. Let's drink. I agree. That's exactly what Jules would be saying if it was here. Roscoe's in the house. Looking forward to that Springbank. Kevin is drinking a beer from Goal Brewing called Ube Haze. Got some Volan's Repo Neat on the ready. Sounds good. Helios with the G4 Madeira. Excellent, excellent choice. You might see that in our next video, which is going to be our best of 2024 video. So a little sneak peek for those of you in the live stream. Richie, thank you for being here. Richie, appreciate you. 818 Creations in the house. Happy holidays. Sipping on the Ocho Puntas 2024. What a great bottle that was, too. East Coast Liquor Reviews in the house. Merry Christmas, Dutch. I'm drinking some spiked eggnog. Cheers. Well, cheers right back at you. Drinking a buzzball. This is pretty nasty. This would be like F tier on the tier list. It's like really watery. Really tastes synthetic. Tastes like artificial. I'm gonna move on. I'm not gonna drink a lot of these because I don't want to. So let's get on to the sipping corn, because this looks like it could be good. You know, that looks like it could be good. It's got the whole mason jar thing going on. Easy to open, wide mouth, so I can spill it all over the place. Fresh glass. This smells kind of funky. It does not smell good. It smells like it went bad or something. Maybe not. Maybe there's just something wrong with my nose as usual. It really smells kind of funky, man. Now I don't want to drink this one either. No. Something's wrong with that one. I mean, I thought I would have enough to be able to like make it through the chat with this, but these have all been disgusting so far. I'm kind of glad. Well, it would have been fun to drink them with the guys, but mainly to see the reaction. So hopefully I can get through the chat with the new Old England here, because this looks respectable. Looks the way that an eggnog bottle should look, opened like I think it should. Oh my gosh, there's huge chunks in it. Can't make this stuff up, guys. Oh, I'm gonna drink it anyway. Okay. This tastes normal, despite the chunks, which makes me think there's real cream in it. Because, you know, that happens with milk sometimes, right? It means it's gone bad? I don't know. Lau! It's got some Nika 12-year-old Taketsuru Pure Malt. Found at a small liquor store in Osaka. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Love that stuff. Alexander says, what are some good Scotch whiskey for beginners? There's a lot of good cheap stuff out there. You know, you can take a look at any of our drink throughs and maybe start with like the cheapest of them and just kind of see if it's a good introduction to that flavor profile. You can start with something like a Johnny Walker, even Johnny Walker Gold, and see like, what do you like in there? Do you like the sweet flavors? Do you like kind of the little bit of the smokiness, peatiness going on? And you can kind of go in a lot of different directions. Highland Park 12, another fun one to start with. Because it gives you a little bit of that sherry influence, a little bit of that peat influence. And you can kind of see, do I want to go deeper down in the peat angle or deeper down in the sherry angle, or, you know, keep diving into blends or brands that have both is a big influence. So it was a bad answer, but hopefully you got something out of it. All right, Calvin. Gallici 23. Ben Renz 26, cast strength signatory. Wow. That's awesome. Let's see here. Oscar, stop stealing. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. I'm sober tonight, but still tuning in. Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Why no videos on vodka? I don't think you get a lot of clicks. How about that? It's also just not that interesting to us. I mean, there is some interesting subtlety in vodka. If you've ever done a tasting, like with a caviar tasting, I've done a tasting of caviar with tasting of vodkas, and yeah, you can get subtle differences, and it can be an interesting thing to kind of use as a palate cleanser, palate setting for things like caviar. But it's just I don't know how deep we could go into it, but maybe one day. I'll never say never. All right, David in the house. What's up? Richie Z is still here. I clicked on that one by accident. All right, East Coast Liquoroo says the Old New England is the one I'm drinking. It's not as good as the Pennsylvania Dutch. I agree. It's not bad. It tastes very standard. Mine's got chunks in it, so I don't even want to keep drinking this, but it tastes okay. It's actually not that great. It's okay though. It's D minus tier. Yeah, we did our first mezcal review not too long ago, or released it not too long ago. We do want to get deeper into it. We just have a mountain of stuff that we're still trying to get through, and yeah, but we're definitely gonna keep hitting that. So I'm gonna stop drinking eggnog now because I don't feel great with that. Get these glasses out of the way. I thought maybe I'd bring one of these with me to a Christmas gathering tomorrow. But quite frankly, not a single one of those is worth bringing to company. Okay, I got to reset the palate. I had a warm-up pour that I was working on right before the stream. Campbelltown Lock. This is a blend from Campbelltown. And I learned that there are two varieties of this. You will sometimes see one that's quite a bit darker. This one's pretty light. And you'll see a darker one that apparently has more sherry, or it could just be regular batch variants, but somebody told me there's actually like specifically a heavy sherry one and a not so heavy sherry one. I don't know if that's actually true, but I'll repeat it anyway. So cheers, guys. Hopefully this will get my palate in a good place for the good scotch coming up. Hopefully everybody's had a good holiday season so far. I'll tell you from over here, it's been crazy, and it's just been so much going on. All of us have had like a lot of stuff going on in our lives outside of Curiosity Public. Not bad stuff, just been busy. And then on top of all that, trying to move our set, which just took forever, and bringing all these bottles over here took forever. And then trying to figure out what are we going to do for a backdrop? How are we going to get the mics? And if you've seen any of the new videos, the audio is awful. Like I can't stand it. I'm really trying to work on it. I've got actually part of our new setup here tonight. So maybe it sounds a little bit better. I don't know. If it's really echoey, I apologize. It's just something we're working on. Hopefully by the next time we film, it'll look pristine and sound much better. We got a couple of like lighting things I'm not totally happy with either. Okay, I'll stop geeking out about that. Richie says, is the Springbank 2024? I think it is. I just got it, and I believe it is. Is there a date code on the bottles? I didn't even look. This doesn't, yeah, it appears to be a 2024 bottle. It's got a date, and the last two digits are 24. So I'm assuming that means it is the 2024. That's what the bottle looks like. I have had this once before. A friend of ours, a friend of the channel, when Jules and I were at the whiskey show in London, big whiskey event out there, a friend of the channel pulled us aside. He was actually working at the event, but he pulled us aside and he pulled this out of his bag and just poured us each a little dram of it, and it's fantastic. Blue background is nice. Yeah, you know, we can change the color. This is kind of what when we first did this, we thought, hey, that looks kind of different. We wanted to put our sign up here, but it just didn't work. I'm not married to this, but it's easy, kind of minimalist, so we're doing it for now. Audio is good. Well, thank you. Good. I'm glad this is hopefully it's a little bit better. I don't know. I've got some of the processing going on too on our Rodecaster, so that might be helping too. Oscar says, make your own eggnog. Most pre-made mixer cocktails suck. It's super easy to do, and I use Wild Turkey Rare Breed for my eggnog concoctions. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I used to make mine every year. I actually use the raw egg recipe. If you ever have tried this, it's actually a recipe that there's actually been a scientific study done on it because they wanted to see if you could use raw egg yolks safely. And using this specific recipe, it's got 3 cups of alcohol in it, 1 cup of bourbon, 1 cup of brandy, and 1 cup of rum, 12 egg yolks raw, and then cream and milk, or half and half. You can use half and half. And that's it. And it's raw egg yolks. And they tested it. They actually put an egg that had salmonella in it into a batch. But with that much alcohol, after 1 week, it killed it all. So it's totally safe. It's a great recipe. Just put a bunch of nutmeg in there on top. It's fantastic. And you can age it for like years. I've had a batch that's sitting in the fridge for like 3 years. It's totally fine to drink. Keeps getting like a little bit richer and thicker. It's just fantastic. And you can play around with the different kinds of booze. It's really awesome. Okay. Jimmy says, when drinking bourbon and scotch in the same night, in what order do you drink them? Kind of depends on what kind of scotch, I would say. If you're drinking a mellower scotch like this, the Campbelltown Log, this is pretty mellow. This is very easy to sip. It's not particularly high proof either. It's 46%. Most bourbons are going to be higher proof than that, or a lot of bourbons are going to be higher proof than that. And it's not super peaty or anything like that. Sometimes if you have like a really peaty, like an Ardbeg or a Lafroig, that will really stay on your palate and it can affect things that you have afterwards. So if we're going to do one of those, we tend to do them at the end of the filming. So if it's a very intense scotch, I would do it after. If it's not, if it's a more subtle one, and a lot of them do have really subtle notes, I'd do them first. Again, it depends what kind of bourbon you're drinking. So, but as a general rule, I would do, if it's a peat bomb, I would do it second. Otherwise, I'd do the scotch first. That's just me. And I'm sure there's a lot of exceptions to that. Yes, this is, I'm really looking forward to that. Smooth says, I always hear that mezcal is big league compared to tequila and much more diverse compared to it, but no one ever reviews it. Yeah, I think Tequila Hombre does some reviews of mezcal. Like I said, we've only done one. We did the Del Maguey Chichicapa, and it's excellent. It's really, it's a very fun spirit. I mean, the thing is, there's other stuff, Sotol, things like that you can try that are also very similar to the wheelhouse of tequila. Of course, mezcal is kind of the general term. There's tons of stuff, and I think part of the reason that there's not a ton of reviews is there's not as many people into it. Right now, tequila is blowing up. So if you run a YouTube channel and you're trying to get clicks, tequila is going to get you more clicks in general. Although our mezcal video did pretty well. So not that is our driving force. We do all kinds of stupid videos that nobody clicks on. So it might just be why there's not a ton of reviews. All right, Mike, sipping on Wilderness Trail Barrel Proof Rye, Aberlour 12 was my first scotch. Nice. Nice on both of those. Oh, look at that. Richie's putting our podcast out there. Yeah, check it out. We got our year-end review podcast coming out. Every year we do our predictions and our wishes for the next year, and we review our predictions and wishes of the last year. So we just recorded that one actually not too long ago, maybe like last week sometime. So that's coming out if Dylan gets it edited. He runs the podcast. I just show up for it. Just super nice. I don't have to think about it. And that's why it doesn't always get out every week, but he's doing okay. And speaking of year-end, I mentioned it earlier. We got our 2024 year-end review, or just best of, coming out next week. Should be dropping Monday or Tuesday. And the good news is also we've got a lot of content in the bag now. And I'm hoping, I always say this, hoping to get back to 2 a week, or at least sprinkle in a couple of weeks where we got a couple of videos. So we got a lot of stuff that's kind of relevant, and it tends to be this way. We'll record it, and then by the time we get it edited and released, everybody's already forgotten about it, but we'll see how it goes. I can still taste the eggnog. I thought this would cut it out, or cut it through it, but I don't want to have this on my palate when I go into the Springbank. So I'm just going to take another minute, finish up my my Campbelltown Lock here. Oh yeah, this is good stuff. I mean, if you like Springbank, and you kind of want a bargain blended approximation of it. I mean, it's definitely mellower, but it's very nice. It's very easy to drink. This is a fun bottle, and I'm hoping it really sets my palate right. It's like that fake synthetic thing in the back of my throat still, but it's fading. This is helping. All right. Cody says, looking good with the beard. I'm gonna finish off my Sam Adams winter lager after work tonight. Nice. Yeah, the beard came unexpectedly. I ran out of razors, and then it got a little bit longer than I would normally have in between shaves, and I was like, yeah, you know what? It's wintertime. I'll grow out the winter beard. And just like, yeah, man, look at all that gray now, though. It didn't used to be there. Whatever. What can you do about it? Not grow a beard? Maybe? I don't know. I'm okay with it. Okay, let's see here. Are we ready to do the Springbank? I think I am. Andrew says, thank you for biting the bullet and grabbing Springbank 21 for us. I might grab depending on your thoughts. Okay, I will let you know. Like I said, I've had prior releases, and I don't know. I personally, of the premium Springbank that I've had, if you've seen our drink through, you've seen everything I've had pretty much. And I've tried this before, but I've never owned a bottle before this one. In general, I really like Springbank. I just don't think it's worth the markup. You know, I really like the 15. You can get it for a reasonable price. I think it's totally worth it. The 18, I wasn't blown away by it. And again, there's a lot of year-to-year variance in the Springbanks, and I think that's kind of one of my issues with it. You know, some people really like that aspect of it. For me, it's like, it just makes it difficult to review things because I don't know how it's going to be this year. So the 12-year cast strength is great. The regular 12 years really nice. I thought the local barley was, again, just kind of not overrated, just overpriced, honestly. Just it's really, really expensive and not worth it to me. So we'll see. This is like a $600 bottle, so or $700 bottle. Let's see how it is, guys. Merry Christmas to all of you and to me, because I'm opening this now. It's a cool looking box. I like what they did with this. I mean, the gold motif is really nice on it, and it, you know, got some information on the back, and it's nice. Like it has like a little magnet in here, but like it really snaps shut. So good luck on that. And the bottle here, we'll get a little close up. Look how, oh, that's really dark. Our lights do a lot of glare. That's a little better. And the back. And yeah, very dark. Just for comparison, the Campbelltown lock and the 21. Very, very different colors. All right, guys, let's get into this. You guys save those little toppers, little seals? Some people do. Not a big cork pop. This glass is a little dirty. I think it's just water spots. I think it's fine. All right. Let's give it a little swirl. Yeah, you can see the water spots on that thing, huh? Ugly. Should have got a cleaner glass. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's do a quick nosing here. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for a second because 21 years old, I can hear Ralphie yelling, "Don't drink it yet." He'd say something like that. Okay, the one near me is $7.50. I think our price was like $6.50. Maybe it was $7. Maybe it was 7. I'll tell you guys what it was. I had started to put the price paid on the bottom of the bottles, but just totally forgot with this one. So this one was Jeez. I can't find my receipt. I know I got it here somewhere. Okay. That is not it. That is it. Yes, exactly the same. 750. Yep. It's a tough justification for any bottle of booze, quite frankly. Cheers, Dutch. Drinking on a fresh crack of Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Holiday Select Limited Edition 2014 96 proof. I've always wondered how those are. What is it? Is it much different? I never tried any of them. Okay. I've only found the 14-year Bourbonwood and the 10-year Springbank. Enjoy them both. Yeah. I think I mean I've always enjoyed them. I guess my problem with it again is just like it's just the price. It's like Macallan. I always enjoyed drinking Macallan. I just don't enjoy paying that premium price for it. All right, Roscoe says probably an unpopular opinion, but I still prefer Oogie to the Springbank 12 cask strength. I don't think that's unreasonable. The label motif on that Springbank 21 looks like it was retrieved from a pirate's chest. Yeah, a little bit. I like it. It kind of looks like it's from the 70s. I kind of dig that. Okay, I'm going to give this a proper nosing now. The initial nose was great. Wow, there's that funk, that funkiness that, people talk about that Campbelltown funk. I don't always get it, but this, you get it. Yeah, so it's kind of like an earthiness you would expect, but it's got like an additional fragrance on top of it that just very hard to describe, and I think that's why people call it the Campbelltown Funk. There's not a ton of sweetness, not a ton of sherry or anything on the nose. Is this sherry aged? I think it is, or sherry cask. So this is oak casks. Doesn't say on here. But I believe there's some sherry influence on this. But like I said, these fresh cracks don't come here for information, just initial gut reactions. Yeah, not a ton of sweetness. The sweetness is very muted, a lot of funk. $700 nose? No, but can't judge it on that. All right, I'm going to go in first sip here. I'll let it open up a little bit more. You get the age on the palate. The mouthfeel, that's what I want. When you pay a premium and you're getting an aged spirit, this is the kind of mouthfeel you want. Finish is really good, duration as well. Second sip, we'll talk about flavor. A little quick palate cleanse. Let that sit for an hour. Yeah. Yeah, this is one. I mean, you can tell. I can tell by that first sip, this is going to continue to open up. And coming back to this bottle, I'm sure we'll do a review on it in the future. It'll sit for probably a month at least before we get to it, and it will have evolved. I can tell already. The mouthfeel is so nice on this. Flavors are not very intense. The funkiness from the nose, it's kind of the core of this thing. And then there's this kind of almost nondescript sweetness kind of layered over it. very enjoyable. Is it $750 enjoyable? I mean, if the Springbank funk thing is your jam, then I get it. Kind of, I think it's like $300-400 whiskey at best, but initial reaction. Like I said, I can tell that this is going to evolve. Okay, Roscoe says, are all Springbanks 700? I think they are. I don't know. Our other bottles are somewhere in the mess. I'd have to go check, but wow. I mean, I'm blown away by the mouth feel. The mouth feel is the highlight. I'm gonna let this sit now. I'll come back to it at the end. But you know, if I wasn't doing a YouTube channel about whiskey, I probably wouldn't spend $750 on this after trying it. That's a lot of money. So, all right, Roscoe says, I will say the 12 cast strength is very good. Oscar, I put the aroma characteristic of Springbank in that earthy category, leaning towards a mossy and grassy peat smoke funk. Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. Oh, wow. Okay, well, I'm going to let this sit, and we'll get into the Bowmore. Here's a good question for me in the interim. For that money, would you buy that again or the 5-year G4 Extra? Well, the 5-year, you mean the 7-year, the new one? I'm assuming you mean the 7-year, and that's cheaper. I think it's like I think I got mine for like $520, and I did get a bottle of that for myself. That's tough. That's tough. I mean, here's the problem: is I would thoroughly enjoy drinking. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy drinking this when I drink it again. And so it's one of those that, you know, when you spend that much money on a bottle and you're going to thoroughly enjoy it, it's like, okay, that's great, right? But then you start doing the math on it, like, well, for $750, for me, where my brain is going is other scotches that I would spend this much money on with, or less than this, without as much hesitation even. And like, maybe I'm just too much of a Highland Park fanboy, but like the 25-year Highland Park to me, which you can get for around the same price. You know, it's older. To me, it's a little bit of a richer experience. And again, you may taste Highland Park and think, nope, I'm a way bigger fan of the Springbank flavor profile, but I don't know. Tough call for me. I'm going to come back to it. Let's see. I'll see if my feelings evolve towards the end of the stream. You got to stick around. You can see that. Richie says, do you have any Springbank local barley bottles? I have had the 10-year. Amazing if you like that complexity. Yeah, we do have one of those, the 10-year. I think it's a 10-year, yeah. I think, aren't they all 10 years? Yeah, and it was in our drink through of Springbank, and we included that one. And I would like to redo that drink through, honestly, with some newer bottlings to throw in there. And also just with the perspective, because we did that, I mean, years ago. So coming back to it after a couple of years of, additional experiences is always fun. And actually, it's been fun, kind of a few drink throughs we've gone back and kind of redone. Have been really fun. And we actually are planning to do some more of that as we move forward. So, okay. Definitely going to come back to this. Let's talk Bowmore. So here's case in point, 22 years old, and this bottle was $400. So, not quite half the price, but getting close. I've never had this. I did recently. Jules and I were hanging out, and I had a bottle of the 15-year Bowmore, and we just proceeded to kill it over an evening. We were hanging out with some friends, and just the two of us just kept repouring from that bottle, and it's really enjoyable. I think, don't know if people still knock Bowmore for using color in their products or not, but I feel like it's not a highly regarded brand for some reason. Maybe I have a false memory of that or something, but I've heard good things about. I believe it was either this one or the 21 year they did in conjunction with Aston Martin, or at least put some Aston Martin branding on there. Master selection, but check out the proof on that, 51%. Love seeing that. And the back. So let's see how this bad boy is. So here's the other wrinkle to all this is I talked about at the beginning of the stream about how in the wintertime, I just instinctively start drinking more scotch. It's kind of specifically very sherry heavy scotch. And I believe that this is going to be a little heavier on the sherry, so it just might be more of what I'm in the mood for right now, but I don't know. I haven't had it yet, so let's see. Better cork pop on this, but almost spilled some. There's a little bit of a drip on the bottle there. Cool looking bottle. You know, it's got this kind of matte finish down here, but then you can see the color of it up here. It always bothers me when there's like the Ardbeg 21, 25? Is it 25 or 21? It's such a cool looking bottle, like the Silver Surfer, but you can't see the color of the liquid inside at all. This you kind of get both. You get the cool matte thing, and then you can also see the color of the liquid up there. So there it is in the glass. Darker for sure than the Springbank. Here's the Springbank. So I don't need to put any stickers. It's a little bit less apparent looking in the camera. And obviously there's more of the Bowmore right here, but quite a bit darker. I do want to let this sit, but I'm just going to give it a quick. Oh, interesting. Interesting. All right. Marvin says, how do you feel about these brands, big names like Aston Martin, making whiskey like this? Is it just for the name or are they actually tasty? Well, there was a bunch like with the F1. I think even Jack Daniels did one for F1. I don't know. I mean, whenever there's like a celebrity tie-in or a brand tie-in with things, I'm kind of always a little bit skeptical, but that doesn't mean the product is bad. And it's like a celebrity product, right? We may all have that gut reaction, oh, it's going to be crap. And every once in a while, one will surprise you. And, you know, we'll see. Maybe this one will. Yeah, Bowmore is darker. Good. Glad it showed up there. This is obviously a different camera setup than we use for our episodes. And when we film our episodes, we don't actually use autofocus. We just have a fixed focus line, like right at the edge of the table. So it's always a little different for me to work with the autofocus, having to remember that got to block my face and allow the thing to come into view. You can see our branded glass. All right. So 52 of you in the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hope you guys are having a fun Christmas Eve. And I'm glad the audio is good. That I got to listen to the stream back because the irony of all this is we upgraded our microphones because when we used our old mics in this room, which is way more echoey, it sounded like crap. And so these new mics were better, but it still sounded pretty crappy because of how echoey the room is. And like I said, right before the stream, I just repositioned the mics. I put a new like mic bar right here above my head. So I'm hoping this is the fix that we need. So, all right, little palate cleanse and let's get into the Bowmore. We've got some fun stuff in the pipeline too. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end here. But wow, the legs on this one are pretty thick. It's almost like the first swirl coats it so much that you can't even see the second swirl after it. I don't know if that's picking up, but you can still see the line up there from like my first swirl right there. See that? And it's so thick, it hasn't like even started to drip down. There, it's starting to drip down over there. So down there, you don't even see it. I have to get it all the way up to the top. That is insane. All right. Nose. Interesting. Mike says, sounds good to me, but I've been drinking. Me too. That's the tough thing about filming content involving alcohol, because we never really know how things went until we watch it back. There's an interesting bright fruit note in this. It's not a typical sherry bomb nose. There's the peat aspect coming in here. It's not smoky, but it's like got that earthiness. It's very interesting. Cheers, everybody. Going in. Wow. The peat in this is just, it's really working. Wow. It's going to be difficult to go back to the Springbank after this. Wow. Okay, finish is not as long as the Springbank. Interesting. The flavors are so intense up front. Finish does fade a little bit. Let me give it a second sip, because I'm already talking about the flavors on the first sip, which is, it's like something Dylan would do. Yeah, both of these have just such a big, intense upfront flavor hit. This one's almost bigger up front, but it definitely fades quicker. The Springbank completely envelops your entire palate. This one hits a little bit more distinctly at the front of the palate and kind of tapers as it goes. There's that basically big mix of peat and fruit. It's not getting to like the raisin, really dried red fruit level. It's a little bit brighter than that, which is interesting. The lingering flavors are really nice. It just kind of leaves a warmth and just like the subtle peatiness on the back of the palate. But the drop in intensity is way quicker, way sharper than you notice in the Springbank. So interesting one. Interesting. Yeah, the mouthfeel is better in the Springbank for me. This has, like I said, almost a bigger flavor hit up front, but it doesn't coat as much. The other one's like a little more subtle, but it kind of like completely coats your palate off the bat. So I think I prefer the mouthfeel a little bit better in the Springbank. But I'm going to give this another sip in a second, and then I'll go back. Andrew says, as someone who doesn't like regular Jack Daniels, I like the Holiday Select and would recommend any Jack that comes in those single barrel special release bottles. Yeah, been a fan. I've been a fan of most of those as well. I remember seeing those holiday ones and never picking them up for some reason. I always kind of wondered like what the difference really was. Is it a different proof point? Is it just a blend that they did special? All right, let's give this another sip. And we'll do I don't know, is there something else I should pour for comparison? Should I grab another Springbank? I'm trying to think what else I got. This is nice. Is it $400 nice? Again, I'm asking the same question on price. I mean, I think both of these are a very tough value call. They're both really good. So for instance, like I told the story, Jules and I were drinking the Bowmore 15 the other day. Would our evening have been like elevated 10x if we had been drinking this. Because the 15, I don't know how much the 15 runs these days, but it's much cheaper and much more available than this. And yet it provides a really great drinking experience. If I were to compare them side by side, of course, the mouthfeel of this is better, the finish is better, the flavors are more intense, everything is better. But that's just too much, man, to me. Again, at $400, I just think there's other things I'm going to be buying. But it's also got really nice flavors and really big flavors right up front. So I can see why people really like this. If it continues to open up, it might start justifying it. It's really good. I'm not trying to say it's bad in any respect. It's just it's always hard to do a full analysis of value. And I hate doing value because it's such a personal thing, I think. Number one, you got to know what you like. Number two, everybody's budgets are different. So it's just tough to tell. All right. Tame Turkey 101 says, I feel like the only person who only buys scotch from Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. Wouldn't consider a shelfer at this point. Yeah, I mean, people love that stuff. Interestingly, the scotch that I've been reaching for and grabbing this holiday season has been a lot of single cask stuff. So, I mean, I get it. There's some incredible single cask stuff out there. And I was drinking the Macallan Spey Malt, a really interesting Speyside signatory 16-year-old, I think it was, maybe 17-year-old. I think it might be Glenlivet or Glenfarclas. And it's just intense. It's big and bold. It's like high proof. Just been loving that. And then the Enigma 16 Speyside, which just totally caught me off guard. I bought it because I needed to get free shipping on something. And I mean, it's like $120, $130 bottle. And I was like, oh, well, if I get that, then I can get free shipping. So I did it. Loved it. I mean, I just shocked at how much I liked it. There's, I guess, some speculation that it's a Craigellachie, and I totally get it because it's got something kind of funky. Some people are swearing that it's a Glenfarclas. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, single cask stuff is super fun. It's super fun. I think again, I have not done a deep dive in the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society stuff. I think maybe people complain about price. I don't know. I don't know how much it costs. I've just heard that. So repeating lies, probably. Okay. Other than, let's see, Daft Cask says, other than Highland Park, where would you spend $400 to $500 on scotch? I hate to say it, but some of the single cask Macallan stuff, the Signatory, the Spey Malt stuff, I've only bought like 3 or 4 of them in my time, but I've never felt let down by those. They've been incredible, and for me, those are like the perfect Christmas time scotch, and I would probably continue to buy them. Granted, I don't tend to spend $400 to $500. They're a little bit cheaper than that usually, but some of those older single cask Macallans like that would be something I would consider. Again, that's just because I like a big sherry hit around this time of year, and for whatever reason, when the Christmas season is approaching, I feel a little bit less restricted in how much I spend on a bottle. So maybe that's part of it too. That's a good question. I mean, I've done that for the show a lot, but the ones that I really, I mean, you obviously can tell I'm a Highland Park fanboy, but strangely, like some of the signatory stuff I'd consider, or I mean, just any single cask stuff from a distillery, I'm feeling. I'd consider like an Aaron or an Enoch maybe, just because I haven't had some of the really premium stuff, the high end stuff, and I think I'd like it. So, everything that we had in our cask strength sherry bomb blind I were to try like the older age stuff from any of those distilleries, I think I'd like them. All right. Oscar says Aston Martin Private Pick is a unique pour you pull out once in a blue moon. It's a Scotch dram for enthusiasts and collectors. I'd rather buy bottles of bourbon before one rare single malt offering. Even with the annual membership fee, I haven't gotten a bad one yet in 4 years. I think the price is reasonable for what you get. Interesting. Glenlivet. Oh, so is that what you think the Enigma is? Or the, I don't know, I'm lost. Or what you would spend $400 on. All right. Will you ever drop that blind with high proof tequila that ended up in a draw? Oh, the Blanco. Yeah. It's definitely going to come out. Holiday videos kind of usurped everything because we filmed those eggnog ones, which we wanted to get out this month. And then we got our year-end review. I can go through some of the stuff we got coming. Let me go back to this because this is going to be a little bit of a shorter stream tonight. But if anybody has any special requests, I'm not opposed to grabbing something else and chatting about it. But I will go back into the Springbank here for a second, see if it's opened up at all, and I will talk a little bit about what's coming in a second. So let's see how the nose is. It's evolved a little bit here. It's still mostly that kind of funky thing with a little bit of fruit somewhere in there. A little bit of wood, maybe. It's subtle, though. The nose is not super intense. Remember if I did a palate cleanse after the Aston Martin. George T's Tag 2024. I wish I had it here. Okay, there's more fruit now that it's opened up a bit. Mouth feels so good. It is interesting though, coming off of the Bowmore. Oh, yeah, it's still a better mouthfeel to me. It's warmer. There's almost a floral component in this one. Some of the subtlety is really coming out now that it's opened up, and you're getting these flavors in the mid palate and towards the finish, these new flavors that come out. And that's usually, to me, that's one of the hallmarks of like a really fine product, is when you have a great big burst of flavor at the beginning, but then you get new things along the flavor, spectrum as you're swallowing, as you're drinking it. Wow. It's definitely improved. Is it justifying the 750? It's still a tough one for me. Still think it's too much, but I mean, even in comparison to other 21-year-old bottles, right? Like Highland Park 21 is like $300. This Aston Martin 22 was $400. I mean, this is a lot. It's probably about twice as much as what it really should be. Here's an interesting thing. How good is Glenlivet 21, right? It's great. It won our blind, I think, right? And it's, just way cheaper. And it's like, what percentage of this experience do you get with that? Well, yeah, it doesn't have the unique characteristics of Springbank. And so if you love those unique characteristics, this is the only game in town, you got to spend that money on it. Yeah, so I think for the fans, you will love this, and you will spend $750 on it, and you'll be like, damn, I love this. Yes, it's expensive, but I love it. If you're just kind of more of a casual Scotch drinker and you spend this much money on it, you might just be like, well, it's good, but why did I spend $750 on it? I may not do that again. So, I finished my glass. It's really nice, and I will thoroughly enjoy going back into this when we review it. And I actually am really looking forward to reviewing it and putting pen to paper, because it's an interesting thing to go through and actually, that's part of the reason why we do what we do with these criteria that we go through and on our scorecards. They really make you think about what you're tasting. They make you think about, like, why do I like this? like, why am I having this reaction to what I'm drinking? Let me break it down into the component parts. So I encourage everybody to try it, to try breaking things down that way. Okay, let's revisit the Bowmore. Okay, so I was going to answer this question. Yes, that video is coming. Stuff that is in the pipeline right now. Like I said, year-end reviews coming out next. After that, I haven't started editing the next video after that, so I don't know what is actually going to come next. We had a couple things we filmed that were newer products that we want to get out as a priority. One of them is the Lalo Still Strength that we didn't do a full review. I think we just did a fresh crack reaction video. Last time we filmed, we did a lot more kind of reaction videos. They were quicker. They weren't full breakdown reviews. And we kind of, after the filming, we were like, you know, maybe that's more beneficial. We can film more of them because they're shorter and we can get more content out. And I think people still find those useful. So you're probably going to see more of those coming out. You know, we filmed a bunch. So I know that's one of the more high priority ones. I'm trying to see, I can see over there what we filmed. The Old Granddad 16 was another one that's probably going to come out sooner. Oh yeah, we did not the heart release, the Lost Stave Maker's Mark Mocha. I don't remember if it was a full review or we just did kind of a reaction thing to it, because I don't think Jules or Dylan had it. But that's probably also going to be a higher priority one. We did a little mini drink through of the Grain to Glass stuff from Heaven Hill. And a bunch of other stuff. We have a new series. So we didn't film any Contender. Not saying that the Contender is done, but there is a new challenge series coming. I'm not going to give any more details on it, but it was a lot of fun. We didn't know how it was going to go, but I think we filmed like 4 or 5 episodes of it, and it was super fun. So we'll see if you guys like it. I don't know. We like dumb stuff, so we may like it, but nobody else may like it. So, all right, Roscoe says I'd spend big bucks on Ardbeg 25. That'd be an interesting one. I haven't had that since we reviewed it. That'd be an interesting one to try in comparison to this even. So, Dutch, what's your favorite bourbon of 2024? Mine is Russell's 15. Mine. Do you really want the spoiler for the video that's coming out? Because it was actually my pick. I mean, it was all of our picks. All of us picked it. And it was not Russell's 15. I'll say that much. We actually filmed an entire episode about Russell's 15. I think we all had thoughts about it. And I think people are going to take it the wrong way and get mad at us about it, which seems to always be what happens. But it was more just us expressing something that wasn't clicking with us for some reason about it. And I think we tried to start it by saying none of us think it's bad. Nobody's saying that. I think it's great. I just don't think it was as great as every other reviewer did. That's all. But we have a lot to say about it. We get into the weeds with it a bit. But it wasn't that. Should I tell you what distillery? No, because then you'll get it. It's going to come out on Monday or Tuesday. So you'll see. But that was my favorite. The one that we did pick was definitely my favorite of the year. So Glenlivet Enigma. So the Enigma, are you saying that the 16-year Speyside is definitely Glenlivet? Because I've been trying to figure out what it is, and nobody seems to know for sure. I've heard people just as confidently say it was Craigellachie and just as confidently say it was Glenfarclas. So I don't know. All right, Robert says, recommendations for an affordable Irish whiskey for a newbie. You can start anywhere for a newbie. I mean, I would go Redbreast 12. That was kind of the first Irish whiskey that I realized where I realized like Irish whiskey is delicious. I mean, like a long time ago. There's a lot of Redbreast is a great place to start because there's a whole spectrum of inexpensive to very expensive ones, and the inexpensive ones are really delicious. To me, that hallmark kind of green apple flavor profiles there, and a lot of the cheaper ones. But Irish whiskey is an interesting category. You have things like Connemara where you got like a lot of other flavors coming in, and you have like the more traditional apple kind of core flavor that you'll get in a lot of them. Napogue Castle 16 was one I used to love because it brought in the sweeter finishes on it. So good stuff. All right, let me see. Scrolling here. Oh, look at that. Mike said the same thing. Red Breast 12. Yeah. Red Breast 12 year cask is great. Yeah. Price keeps rising on Irish. Very frustrating as it was my start in whiskey, and I still love it. Yeah, that was one that, when I first started to go to bars and order whiskey, neat, which or on the rocks even, that was one of the first for me too. It's a got a soft spot for it. Where's the next Scotch drink through to start? I don't know what the next one's gonna be. I don't think we have it filmed yet. So it's gonna be a little while. We really want to prepare for it. I think it might be Glenmorangie, just because we've talked about doing Glenmorangie forever. I mean, we get a ton of requests, and I just don't know exactly what it will be. We have a lot of Lafroig too. I'm just trying to think of things that we have a lot of that would make for a good one. But Glenmorangie is kind of the one at the top of my list because we've talked so much about Glenmorangie on our channel since the beginning, and we've never done a drink through of it, and we all love it so much, and it's a very central Scotch to the three of us being friends. So it's kind of weird that we haven't done it yet. But we want to do it all, man. It's just a matter of time. And I wish we could do them quicker. Lost Recipe is such an underrated. I completely agree. Delicious. All right, so we're not the only people who didn't think Russell's versus 15 was top. Okay, great. Yeah, I got it. I tried it. That's great, but it didn't seem balanced to me. And I've also kind of accepted the fact that for some people, people have different tolerances for tannic oak. And for me, that one just crossed the line a little bit. Wasn't bad. There was a ton of flavor there. It was great whiskey, but it just wasn't as crafted as I've had other oak bombs be. And the one we did pick was quite oaky, but it didn't kind of cross that line, in my opinion. So, okay. Keep scrolling here. That'll be fun. Glenmorangie, yeah. Have you come across a Signet Reserve that could be put in that drink? Yes, we have a review of it. Do we? I'm looking at the board. I don't remember if we reviewed it. We did feature it in a video. I'll give you a hint. It's going to be in our next video. But yes, we did come across one. Yeah, it's excellent. I loved it. I mean, if you like Signet, you will love the Reserve. It's a little hard to track down, but yeah, we did get one, and I thought it was great. Oh man, so I used to be all about the Carnitas. These days, I'm a little bit more on the Al Pastor. Gonna be honest with you, but I got a soft spot for Carnitas. Okay. Yeah, it's this the Reserve is great. I can crack into that right now if you guys want a little quick hot take on that, because I can't remember what we did with it. Let's assuming I can find it. I thought it was right here, but it's not. All right, well, I lied. Sorry about that. I thought it was right there, but it's not. I have no idea where it ended up. Okay, well, I was going to do this. How about I go back to the Bowmore like I'm supposed to? Oh, the nose has opened up a bit. Just the intensity. I'm not getting any new flavors, but the intensity is definitely up a notch. Let's go in. Hmm. Interesting. Finish. I'm gonna take another sip before I say this, but might have gotten worse. Let's see. Hmm. No, it's about the same. Okay, so there's more sweetness. The sweetness is definitely evolving as it's opening up, which is a really good sign because I felt like that was lacking. So I think it was just kind of fresh crack syndrome. Um, it's really nice. I'm starting to. I think that time has done quite a bit to this. Just that short amount of time, whatever it was, 30 minutes, um, definitely opened up the fruits a lot. So that's really nice to see. So again, $400 good though. Who knows? Okay. Question from Tame Turkey. Dutch, any bottles under 30-ish that you guys have loved this year? I picked up a Jim Beam Winter Reserve, and I hate to admit it, but I really liked it. Yeah, we all like the Winter Reserve a lot. Under 30, wow, was the Jim? Sorry, was the Wild Turkey anniversary? It was under 30, or right around 30. That I thought was phenomenal. Really, really good. I mean, really, really good. And if you saw, we did a fresh crack of it, I think, and we compared it to the Asian release 8-year, and you know, it was a little different. It was kind of a weird comparison, and I'd like to go back and do it again now that that bottle of the new one has been open a little bit longer because it could be kind of interesting. So. Yeah, I mean, of all the things I've had this year, that kind of jumps out as being the one. Uh, Four Roses available total one. Oh, yeah, the single recipe, single barrels. Yeah, uh, I'm excited about that. Are there any? Is there? Is there? Wow, I can't read. It's gonna be one of those. It's one of those nights already. Is there a bottle you would pay $1,000 for? It was something you loved, and it was the last bottle they would ever make of that specific expression. Oh man, I'm trying to think what the most I've spent. We've spent that much. I mean, for the channel, we did do the Doers 36, and it totally wasn't worth it to me because I think we all thought that the 32 was kind of just so much cheaper and such a great expression. At least like the first couple batches of it were really just phenomenal. I'm trying to think if we did anything else. Well, the Ardbeg 25. Maybe that. I'm gonna get myself a pour of that Ardbeg because I actually know where that one is because that's something that is ridiculously expensive. It's around, it's a little bit older than these. And just for like a value discussion that we're having, I think it would be an interesting journey into flavor. So pardon me for 1 second here. Great stream. I'm not even on the stream. Why not again? I thought I knew where it was. But I said, you know what? I got to do something for comparison's sake. We were talking about this, so let's just see. Because around the same price as the Springbank. And a pour I haven't had since our drink through, probably. Let's see if I'm full of it. What a great box. What a great presentation. And it kind of annoys me, but it makes perfect sense that Highland Park redid all of their bottle designs like a few months after we filmed our drink through. So, you know, it happens. All right. Oscar says, Dewar's 32, one of the best whiskeys of all time. Man, that first couple runs of it where the price hadn't gone up, man, that was just fantastic. And I think it was a little bit richer. And I don't know if that's just because those bottles of mine, or that bottle was open longer, because I got some backups, and I went through one of them, and it was great, but it was just like a hair less than that first one that we reviewed. And looking back at that review, I think we all agree that like the value was really what pushed it to being at the top of the leaderboard. And since the price has gone up, I don't really think that score holds, but you know, it doesn't matter. $1,000 on a bottle is a bit much. I completely agree. It's ridiculous because we're just drinking this and we're literally going to urinate it out, most of it, in a few hours. So it's like buying really nice cigars. You're literally lighting them on fire. And yet, sometimes you do it for the experience. Same thing with these, you know, it's all about that. And it's all about your price tolerance. All right, where's the glass I got? Oh, I poured it already. Christmas Eve, everybody. I am out of it. All right, don't mind spending a few hundred every once in a while, but above 300, and it better be special. That's kind of where I feel like I am. Like if I'm going to spend that much, and I also kind of have to change gears a little bit because when I'm buying things for the show, for the YouTube channel, it's a little different calculation. It's more like, can we get it at a fair price? And, you know, is it worth us spending our money on for the channel? But yeah, I mean, if I'm buying it for myself, if I'm going above 300, it's got to be something I'm really looking forward to. I'm really excited about trying. And I was saying it earlier in the stream, for me, that's like my Christmas time Spey Malt purchase is like, I'll do that maybe once every other year, and that bottle will last me, but it's something that I'm willing to spend a little bit more on because it's kind of like a special purchase. All right, Amy's in the house. What's up? Do you own more whiskey than you will ever be able to consume? Absolutely. Absolutely. Our members of Curiosity Private, you guys got to see the move, and you got to see me panning the camera across all the boxes of not only whiskey, tequila and rum and brandy and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with all this stuff. All right, David says, hey, Dutch, Merry Christmas. Just caught up in the stream now. Thank you for doing the fresh cracks on the Springbank 21 and Bowmore 22. Been contemplating grabbing the Springbank for $7.99. Ugh. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough, and that's why I wanted to grab this. Because here's one where I usually get it for like around $650, I think. 700. I mean, $650, I think, is about the cheapest. And my reaction when doing that with this was, yeah, that's a lot of money, but I love it. And I don't know if this just, when you get to this level, it just comes down to personal preference maybe, and maybe I just prefer the Highland Park profile a little bit. Let's see. It's one of those nights where my nose is not working well. Yeah, see, already I'm getting more of the red fruit in this. And even where my nose, maybe it was the eggnog earlier. This is just more of my jam, I guess. All right, let's see. I'm buying this. This has a lot of air in it, but it's delicious. And I said before, it's like sherry influence this time of year for me really gets me. But the fact that I know I could buy this for cheaper than the Springbank 21, And I think to my palate, I prefer this. There's my value proposition, right? You know, these are both excellent bottles. I don't think any Scotch drinker will turn up their nose to a pour of either one. And if you have a personal preference, you know, you got to kind of follow that. So to me, this is the one that I think I would go to. I'll give it another sip in a second. We'll let it open up. All right. What's your plan for the whiskey when you can no longer drink? Is it unbecoming to call tips? That's a good question. I've thought about that actually, because I was kind of looking at, even in my own collection, like I used to get backups of things, and it's like, man, I'm closer to 50 now than I am to 40. And I don't drink as much as I used to. I don't know what I'm going to do with all of the bottles that we have here. So what we are doing is again, we did this for our members of Curiosity Private. We had a private event. It was free. We just brought a bunch of our bottles and we let people come and try whatever they wanted to try. It was small. And I think we're going to continue to do that. We're hopefully going to make them larger and larger. And that's for us, that's honestly, it's a way for us to get rid of some of these bottles and share it with people that have supported the channel. And for me, that's kind of the best way to do that. So that's a good question. And, you know, don't want to get deep and philosophical or anything. But all right, Andrew asks, have you had any K-Luke or Blue Note barrel proof bottles? I've had a Blue Note. Somebody sent us one. Fan of the channel sent us one. It was excellent. Really, really liked it. K-Luke, we've got a bottle of it somewhere. I have not had it. I think it's Dylan's bottle. I don't even know if it's opened. It might be an unopened one. So I've not had it. I think I've seen it on somebody's list, but I don't know anything about it. Whoa, accidentally clicked on that. Not that I won't click on it. Oh, that wasn't actually. Oh no, this is what I was trying to click on. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with my brain here? So this was what I meant to click on. How to get used to mezcal aroma nose. To me, mezcal has a lot more complexity than tequila, and you always get higher proof, not much bitterness at all. It's different for sure. And I'll tell you what, like when we're shifting gears throughout a filming day, it can be a little tricky sometimes. You know, we can go from a tequila to a scotch to a bourbon. We try to think it through a little bit and do things in a logical order, but you definitely have to frame your mindset a little bit going into things. Same Turkey says, always keep Blue Note picks in reserve. Have 1K Luke batch and I like it. Think I would try the rye next time. All right, interesting. And Merry Christmas, where are the boys? It's the holidays. Everybody's busy. I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do a live. We were trying to plan another fundraiser live for one of our producers. And just with the craziness of the holidays, I was like, I don't know that we can do it. And then I realized I had nothing going on tonight. I got stuff going on tomorrow. I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's do a Christmas Eve live stream, hang out with the fans here. That's how it is. We can't plan ahead. And Jules and Dylan are both busy. I'm going to be seeing them both next week, which will be fun, hanging out with them. We're not going to be filming. It's just going to be like hanging out. But we do have another filming day on the books already, which is great news because that means we'll have a lot of content in the bag. All right, David says, here's hoping for a few more Scotch drink throughs, maybe Bunnahabhain, Lafroig, Bruichladdich, or several of the Diageo 2024 special releases. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Lafroig, I think, we have a lot of Lafroig. Somebody asked earlier about favorite Lafroig bottle. I like what is it, Cadaris? Is that, am I saying that wrong? I liked that a lot. That was an interesting one. We have a review of, I think it's Lafroig 10. We just felt like, hey, this is a readily available bottle. We haven't done any Lafroig. Let's do a readily available one. And I know I think we filmed it on the old set. So that'll be coming out at some point. But yeah, Lafroig, I think out of those would probably be the most likely to be next out of the ones you listed. maybe Bruichladdich. So yeah, it's just there's tons. Well, thank you. Thank you for wishing us Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you as well, and a Merry Christmas to you as well. What, you guys are in California? Yes, we are. We are in California. Thank you, Richie. Appreciate you being here. Magana Venture says, I was able to find a Blanco Fortaleza in San Diego. Is that a fair price? I don't know what price you paid, but if it was under $40, sure. I don't know what it's going for these days because I have not been paying super close attention, but Blanco Fortaleza, I mean, I personally have a hard time even paying $40 for it, but still strength, maybe, you know. Loved the eggnog episode, Dutch. I liked to see your expertise. Silly. Oh, sorry, $90. That's too much for the Blanco. If it's still strength, I don't know what that's going for these days. Again, I haven't bought Fortaleza in a while, but that's too much for the Blanco. Too much. Prices will come down. Maybe. Now that there's talk of, I guess, voiding NAFTA, but maybe. Who knows? All right. Let me give the 25 one more sip here. Just this is more my jam. I don't know why. All right, set up a whiskey trust and designate who you want the good and not so good bottles to good. That's a good idea. Talisker Storm Thoughts. I found it excellent for 47. I like Talisker stuff. I like those cheap blends, man. They're super drinkable. I like the Storm. They had is it the Port Rouge? I like that too. They're super easy sippers and great. There you go. Fortaleza Blanco for 54 at Whole Foods. That's probably a good price for it, or a more fair price. Peerless straight through. Unlikely. I think, did we do a review? I think we did a review of one of the Peerless, or maybe I just had it on a live stream. I like some of the new stuff they put out, so I'm not opposed to. That'd be a fun one. That'd be a fun one, though. Good idea. Here's a lot of the best stuff from Peerless comes from picks. I've had really good ones. I've had good ones and really good ones. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, heck no, man. I'm not drinking seagrass. David says, yeah, the Cardias releases are excellent. The lore as well. Yeah, we have the lore. We have a lot. That's what I mean. Like, we have a lot of Lefroy bottles. So I that's like a natural one for me to think, yes, that would be a drink through we could do pretty soon. All right, so Jay Wetzel says, pass on Winter Reserve today at $250, bought Añejo for $110. I mean, unfortunately, you just can't find the Winter Reserve for any cheaper than that these days. I stopped buying it when it went up to like $400 around here. And the Añejo, yeah, I mean, I used to get it. I think the last time I bought the Añejo was around 90 something. So yeah, I mean, Añejo's great. The Winter Reserve is fun, but like it's a repo, and you're paying like, who's paying $400 for a repo? Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. All right, have you guys done a Magenta drink through? We have not. But we will be featuring Magenta in our next video. It's another hint. Spoiler. There's a spoiler. All right, guys. I think I'm done. Put a sock in me. This has been a fun drink through. Quick recap. Why don't we do a quick recap as I finish my Highland Park 25? Started out tonight with a mini drink through of eggnog. They were all awful. I had this one, which was the Buzzball synthetic. I don't know. Why did I just smell that? It's disgusting. I tried the oat milk one, the worst one I've had. Tried the Sippin' Cream. Wasn't good either. And then Old New England, which was passable. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was okay. And I see now it says shake well. And I did have a little chunk, and I don't know if I shook it well enough. Okay, so after all that, I reset my palate with this Campbelltown lock because I knew that my next pour was going to be this bad boy, the Springbank 21, which is an incredibly good whiskey. It's just incredibly expensive. And if you're spending $750 on this, you better be sure you really like Springbank. So I wouldn't buy it out the gate unless you've tried a lot of the other Springbanks and been like, this is my favorite scotch in the world. And then spending $750 on it, yeah, I get it. But if you're kind of a Scotch novice or kind of mid-tier Scotch experience level, and you're not sure you like Springbank, that's too much to spend on this, I think. After that, we got into the Bowmore 22, which at $400 is also very expensive. And I'm trying to think which one I liked better between them. I don't know. Mouthfeel of the Springbank was definitely better. And as the Springbank was opening up, I can tell it's going to be a better Scotch. This is very enjoyable. Lots of flavor going on here. It's a really good bottle. 400 still feels really expensive because I grabbed this, which was already open. So it's had the benefit of having some air. And it has the benefit of the fact that I love Highland Park flavor profile. You can get these for, if you get lucky, $650, $700. So it's around the price of the Springbank, a little bit cheaper, maybe even. And to me, it's just a more complex dram because you have bolder fruits and kind of bolder earthy flavors going on. You could make an argument that the subtlety of the Springbank might be lost when you're comparing it to something like this and to the Bowmore. And I get that. And somebody will watch this and think I'm absolutely insane for liking Highland Park more than the Springbank, but I just do. And you never know, that might change. But anyway, this was the pour of the night for me. But I knew that, and that really wasn't what the feature was here. I really wanted to crack into those, and also just hang out with you guys on Christmas Eve. I hope you guys are having a great Christmas Eve, and hope you guys have a great Christmas. And yeah, lots of fun content coming. I mentioned it earlier. We got our best of 2024 coming out on probably Monday. Some controversial picks, some fun picks, some not controversial picks. What we did is we picked 2 tequilas, 2 scotches, and 2 bourbons. A cheap, and a kind of no holds barred, price doesn't matter one. And it made for kind of a fun recap on 2024. Our 2023 recap, I know people were not happy with it because I think we didn't really want to do it. And we just decided, let's just pick the best sip we had out of the year. Doesn't matter if it came out this year or whatever. You know, we kind of went back to what you should do for a year recap with this one, where it was things that were released this year. So super fun. I mentioned earlier some other videos that are coming out. We got a drink through the grain to glass from Heaven Hill. The Old Grandad 16 reviews coming out. We have a review of Yamazaki 18 coming out. These are things we've recorded. I don't know when they're going to come out. I haven't edited them yet. And there was another one I mentioned. Oh yeah, the Lost Recipe Mocha Stave, which I believe was a Costco exclusive. If anybody knows more about that, love to hear it. And at this point, I can't remember if we did a full-blown review of that or just drank it and talked about it. Which I also mentioned. We're doing more of those videos where we're just going to crack into things, chat about them for a few minutes, shorter content. But man, if you come across that Mocha Stave one, just pick it up. It's cheap. It's excellent. We compared it in that video to the cellar aged, and I thought it was a toss-up. Other people disagreed, Dylan. But yeah, I thought it was a toss-up. I think it's a great bang for the buck. And that's the story of Makers, is like you can come across a random private select that will be one of the best whiskeys you've ever had. And then you'll have ones that are duds. Or not duds, but just aren't as good. So yeah, other tequila stuff I mentioned earlier too. The Lalo Still Strength reviews coming out. Actually, it's a Fresh Crack And yeah, lots of other fun stuff. Guys, everybody, please have a safe, merry, and happy Christmas, a safe and happy New Year. We'll see you guys a lot more, hopefully, in 2025. Got a lot planned. We have a lot that's not planned yet, but a lot of stuff that we want to do. And fun new series, like I mentioned before. So, with that said, please subscribe. Please like this video. Do all the YouTube stuff. Stay curious. And now I click end stream.